Well, look who I found. Welcome to episode number 30 of Keeping It Magical. Look who I found.
I didn't even know I was missing.
I told you I'd bring her back one of these days. I actually had to throw her over my shoulder. That's how I got the cut on my leg.
No, I'm going to tell you the real story.
But anyway, it's been 50 days since we've been on live, and to be honest with you, we really did. We needed the break. We had to move a couple times since we've met, and moving into a new home and getting Cammy into school and Melony working out at Bach, and it's just been a I'm gonna say it, pretty hectic for you.
It's been the best whirlwind, tornado, hurricane, tsunami I've ever experienced.
It has been a phenomenon. That is for sure. But we wanted to come back on, and
Melony has things she wants to talk about today.
Melony wants to talk about Kevin today, so I'm gonna kind of let Melony run the show today. She can talk about how some of the stupid stuff Kevin does, but she still loves me. But
we're gonna actually talk about coffee, wounds, and Mr. Rogers.
So why don't we start with?
Well, they kind of go together.
Well,
we'll start off with Mr. Rogers.
We'll start off with Mr. Rogers. Because Mr. Rogers couldn't prepare anybody for the neighbors in my neighborhood.
Mr. Rogers definitely did not prepare us for this.
But, we did. I think...
But he did teach us how to have a good attitude and just always look your best. Never forget your sweater. Always take your shoes off before you go inside. Be nice to people.
But we did. We moved here, and we kind of kept to ourselves. There were some things going on in the neighborhood that we just didn't like, but we kept our mouths shut until
Kevin couldn't anymore.
And I was sick of seeing pit bulls running around and fighting in our yard and doing all kinds of things like that. So, and
then that led to this and that
and that. Next thing you know, we got security cameras around our whole house, and we're just making sure that nothing happens to either of us.
This is Mr. Rogers 2022.
So anyway, I would do anything to protect my family. I won't let anything happen to them, and people like these. They make little these threats, and most people will cower. I won't. I'll stand up to them, and I'll show them that I'm not scared of them, and they can kiss my.
Now, see, as a woman, a petite woman, I can't fight fire with fire or fire with gas. So I have my other way. I put out fires.
She's got a devious mind, by the way.
No.
It really came out during all this. But we won't.
Underestimating me it might not work out for you.
So, Melony, tell everyone what you've been doing.
Okay, well, I've been working.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of hours.
And I have been making this new house a home. And
she's done an amazing job of that. I think I showed a picture of this room when we first moved here. But anyway, she's got it nice and fixed up.
Show them this wall. This wall is so cute. You have to show them this.
Show them that wall.
Yes.
And we got our pictures up and everything, and of course, I see autumn on there. We got rocks everywhere too.
Oh,
rocks
I never even know where to put all of those.
I'm not sure where they all came from, but
everywhere we go, look, a rock.
There's a rock.
Yeah, stop the car. It's all a rock.
But I do gotta add this. I'm not used to this. I sit around a lot, and I'm here all day, and I miss her when she's at work because when we first started this, I was just going to work for a little bit, coming home, and we got to spend a lot of time together. So it's been a big adjustment. And Cammy and me are really bonding quite nicely. And I guess
she knows how to push your buttons.
She knows how to.
She,
oh my Lord, she knows every one of my buttons.
She, with such a straight face, can like just mess with you and like it totally be joking, but she will not. I mean, she has like a poker face. Like
she's
a mess.
Bad, but she just. I think she's really bonding with Kevin quite nicely. And
she does the refrigerator dance.
She does the refrigerator dance now, and a lot of other things. And you know, it really is. I sometimes I guess I overthink sometimes.
Well, oh, hold on. Let me show them.
Oh no, she's gonna get something.
Oh,
what?
No, the thing I made. I was like, I'm putting this with this.
She's gonna show you the little sign she reminded me of a reminder.
I hung this. I personalized it. It did used to say relax, but I added breathe, don't overthink, know I love you, love Mrs. Kaloran, and I hung it right where he can see it from his chair.
She was gonna hang it from the ceiling and kind of dangle it in front of the couch there, but you know, I guess what it is I just can't get enough of you. I want more. The more you give, the more I want. And baby, that's no lie.
I'm just I was
doing my
Cammy.
Barry White for her.
I was trying to pull a Cammy. I was like trying to poke her face.
Yes, I'm keeping the toilet seat down. As a matter of fact,
he is so trained.
Since that video, I have not heard one complaint about me.
Cutest thing ever. Cutest thing ever. Cammy's gone one weekend and he says, so, hey, babe, I have a confession. When you and Cammy aren't here, I don't put the toilet seat down. But I make sure I put it down right before I go pick you guys up because it's... And I was like, that's so...
I had to let her in on my little... See, I'm a rebel. You know, I won't be tamed as long as they're not here. so anyway, I do.
I would keep that as
I do put it up while they're here, but when they're not here, man, I'm Rebel Kevin, and so I do what I want.
You're not the boss of me.
So anyway, it has been quite an adjustment for Kevin, and you know sometimes I miss you terribly when the minute you walk out the door. But it is. I know how hard you work for us, and I know how much you love me. Even though sometimes I
drink coffee.
Yeah, I drink too much coffee or something.
That's a segue.
But anyway, it has been one heck of a 6-month ride. I can't imagine. Put it this way, I never quite was expecting it to go this way, but then nothing ever goes the way Kevin expects it to. So, but I did expect it to go this way. When we jumped into this, I wanted this for the rest of my life. And I think we're on a pretty good start. We've hit some rocky roads, and not anything going on really between us, but just life in general that hit us. We had to get over quite a few struggles, and for us to get married within a month and to spend 6 months together, really getting to know each other, living together, I think we've done remarkable.
Amazing.
Amazing. And you know, there's been a few, I won't really call them arguments as much as I think they were misunderstandings.
Well, that's exactly what I'm about to talk about.
I knew I'd lead into something here pretty soon, but go right ahead. I'm going to let you talk about your...
Coffee and wounds.
Coffee and wounds.
Okay, so...
Kevin was in the urgent care this morning.
Yes.
Because of coffee and wounds.
Well, this morning started off not at all how anybody would have imagined.
No, we didn't start out good.
Well, last night we went to bed. Kevin left a mug of coffee sitting on the desk. Mm-hmm. And then this morning...
My Keep It Magical mug, by the way.
Yeah, which is why we have our different ones.
Yeah, well, these were the originals.
The original ones, yeah. So this morning, Melanie knocks the mug off the desk, and it's ceramic, and it hits a tile floor.
But
and it
when Melanie did this, she was trying to get it through Kevin's thick head that she really does love me. And she's not going nowhere and all this thing because Kevin overthinks sometimes and gets stupid. But anyway, go ahead.
So somehow I accidentally knocked the cup off the desk. It hit the tile floor and exploded. And a large shard of it shanked Kevin in the leg.
Right in the shin.
And he had to get 6 stitches. And we're still dealing with it, trying to make sure it's not bleeding.
Yeah, it's still bleeding a little bit, even though they got the 6 stitches.
It was to the bone. It was a significant wound.
But I'm taking blood thinners. That's why it's still bleeding. But
the reason I really wanted to talk about this is because I think, and I even wore my I Need Coffee shirt.
Right.
I think that you can look at this and it's a perfect analogy to life and getting it hurt, injured, wounded emotionally, spiritually, every way, any aspect. Because whenever it happened, I couldn't say, "Oh, you're not hurt. You're not hurt. I didn't hurt you."
No, it was a completely different reaction.
But now when people try to tell someone that they've emotionally hurt them, many times they're like, "No, I did not. I didn't do that. Whatever. That's not true. You're not hurt. You're faking it. Stop it."
Right.
It's the same thing. You can't, if someone comes to you and tells you or shows you that they're hurt,
right,
you cannot invalidate that.
Right.
All you can do at that point is accept responsibility for it, whether it was an accident.
Right.
I mean, I would hope it wasn't intentional, but there are people out there. But you have to validate the fact that they have been wounded.
I think, part of it is I get my feelings hurt easy, and I tried to explain this to her. But when I start feeling these feelings, like I'm just not getting enough attention, or I need more, view or whatever. When you've lived your whole life in these relationships where
I'm going to talk about that.
You don't get, the attention you need, or you feel like you just don't get the care you need, and you live your whole life like this. And then you meet this. and we did. We started out, and somebody warned me, this is the honeymoon phase. This is, they're going to get over that, they're going to get sick of each other, and they're both going to go their separate ways. The difference was, in this, I can't get enough of you. If I could have it my way, I would spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with you. And I wouldn't get sick of you. I would love every minute of it. But it's that alone feeling again that I get sometimes, when I'm here all day, or when she's not around or Cammy's not around. It's that, here I am alone again. And, but I'm not alone. I take a look at her pictures on the wall, and I see all the things that you've done for me, including saving my life, I believe, because they were wanting to put me under a knife again, and we took care of it, or you took care of it because you understood. This one here is really smart, by the way. But there's a lot of things that, I guess when you've been through what I've been through, when you've been through what you've been through, whether you want to or not,
it totally relates to coffee too.
Some of those things get triggered every now and then.
Yeah.
And the difference.
Can I talk now?
The difference is, though, she cares enough to talk about it, and I love you for that, because I don't want to lose you. The last thing I ever want to do is lose you.
I'm pretty stubborn. But so as I'm thinking about this, okay, so once it happened. Did I feel terrible? Absolutely.
Yep. She kept on apologizing.
It hurt me so badly to see him going through that, and we both knew that I didn't throw the mug at him and like.
Not this time.
But the thing is, like, if you take this and you apply it to any type of wound, any type of hurt, any type of injury within relationships, It's the same thing.
Right.
How did we react in that situation? We didn't start going, well, it's your fault. You shouldn't have left the mug there. Or if you hadn't been sitting there, you wouldn't have got cut.
I didn't get mad at her. I knew it was an
There's none
accident.
of that. He didn't say, oh, well, you shouldn't have moved your arm. Then the cup wouldn't have fallen.
No.
There was no placing blame. There was no argument about it. What did we do? We stopped and we looked at it and we said, okay, what do we need to do to fix this?
I cleaned up my room. So she was cleaning up the mess.
But imagine if we could take that same approach to any type of hurt or injury in relationships.
Well, I think a lot of times we don't know that we're hurting the other people's feelings, or we don't know that that's going on. So, and I think we're pretty good though at picking that up.
Now, if every day for like the next month I knock the mug off and you have to go get stitches, then you might start thinking, okay, well,
then I would think that she's trying to kill me.
Right. then my shirt, I need coffee, might be a red flag.
Yeah, I think I might even cut out coffee. And there's one way to stop me from drinking coffee. Well, what else we got on the agenda?
Well, I just said whether you hurt someone intentionally, accidentally, whatever, you have to validate it. You have to take responsibility for it.
And she did. She kept on saying she's sorry.
Playing the blame game doesn't fix anything.
No,
so it's just you have to address the situation, take responsibility for it, take action to fix it, and then take time to let it heal.
This is all new to really, I think, both of us. Where you're in a relationship where you both care enough to talk things out. You both care enough to say you're sorry. To say, hey, you didn't understand what I was getting at or what I was trying to do. And I think that's why we've gotten over and gotten through so much stuff already. Because we've been hit with quite a bit since we got together. But it's that determination that and I wrote a poem about it before we came on. I don't want to lose you, and I know you don't want to lose me either. And sometimes, because I have lost so much in my life, I guess I feel like, okay, when's the next time? But it is going to be the next time.
Well, and that's another thing. Like,
right.
Say after that happened this morning, you were mad at me.
Right.
And you refuse to let me help you.
Right.
Because that's a lot of
times. I might have blended
that. That's a lot. That's the way that, or it could go either way. But a lot of times when someone hurts us or we get hurt, then we immediately put up this wall and we're
right. Right.
It's shut down. Get away from me. And
right.
we don't even allow. There's not that.
Validation.
The communication stops. The
right.
working together stops. And so, but like in this situation, I just think there's so much to learn from it. Like, you had to be willing to let me continue to help you. Even,
right.
Like, being angry wasn't gonna, and me being...
Well, I've seen it. I've been in a relationship where something like that happened, and they just walk out of the room like they didn't care. Well, that's right. They didn't care. By her saying, I'm sorry, and help me clean up, and, getting me the stuff to clean up my wound and all that. You do.
It validates the fact
no matter what I think sometimes, this woman actually loves the shit out of me. And, it is. It's hard to believe. You're so young. You're so beautiful. You're so talented.
I'm not so young.
But you're just... It's hard to believe that you fell in love with a guy like me. But then again, I look in that mirror, and I made myself into, I think, a pretty, attractive guy. But I worked at it.
I think so.
But it is. It's that getting through that barrier that I put up that nobody could love me. But I always believed somebody could. And then it comes along, and sometimes you just want, God, is this really real? Because it is really real. Mm-hmm. And we've never had real before. It's always been this kind of fake stuff. And when you get hit with the real, it's like, wow, is it really, this is really real? And it is. I've never felt so loved. But I guess when you're away, I just miss you so much sometimes, and it hurts. I want to be with you all the time. And I guess I could Hopping
Well,
in.
I mean, and I'm not talking about just us. I'm talking about in everybody.
Right.
These are lessons for everyone.
I know, but I like to take my lessons and go from there.
So now, let me ask you this:
Yeah.
What if after that you're like, "That's it. I'm done with anybody that drinks coffee." If you start talking
I'd
to
cut
somebody
off
and you're
all
like,
my friends.
they drink coffee. I can't. I just can't. They drink coffee. I can't.
I'd be
I can't even
petrified
do
of coffee.
this.
No, I'm drinking coffee in a ceramic mug.
It's like the women
fearless.
that always, that get hurt in relationships, and then after that, they're like, all men suck. All men are liars and cheaters and abusers.
That's the other thing that I see.
Men do the same thing when they get hurt. Like, it's easy to generalize it, but it's not all coffee drinkers.
Ladies, if you want to really attract the right man, quit downgrading men. Not all men are the same, and not all the women are the same. And this, I see a lot on a lot of people's posts. Is there any good men?
She's got a coffee mug. I know this type right here. I know her type.
She goes, but I do. I see it on women's posts a lot. Are there any good men out there? Or why are men this way? They glump everybody in the same category. And it really truly was, I think, part of my reason that I was single for so long, because a lot of women group all men into the same category.
And women do the same thing. I mean, it goes both ways. But
and it does. There's a lot of men that do the same thing. And you got to quit doing it. Take the person for who they are.
Well, that's like, what do we do when this happens? You take action to fix it.
Right.
Whether sometimes maybe that's leaving, because maybe it is a situation you don't need to stay in. Sometimes maybe it's truly talking it out and making a change, But like now, I anticipate that every time we sit down to drink coffee, you're not going to be like, "Oh my God, I hope you don't knock the cup off the table again like you did last time."
What do you mean? I'm super glued to the table.
But it's the same thing. Imagine, like, in a relationship, if every single time something comes up, you're like, "Oh God, here we go again. I know how this is gonna go." It's like once you talk about something, you deal with something, you work through something, let it be.
But it is. I gotta give us credit. I really do, because I've seen a lot of relationships start like ours did, fast and furious, and then all of a sudden something comes up. And they're like, forget this, and boom, walk away.
I've dated somebody else. I was married to somebody that drank coffee.
Just like you.
I was married to somebody that drank coffee. I should have known.
But this is completely different, because we do. When we see the other person get upset, when we see the other person's been hurt, we try to amend that and make it up and say we're sorry. We're not afraid to say we're sorry to each other. And that to me is huge. And
not afraid to accept responsibility.
Right.
I mean, no one's perfect.
But we don't. I never want to do anything to hurt you. You know that,
Right.
and you never want to do anything to hurt me. And I think sometimes.
But are we human? Yeah. I mean, kind of.
I do kind of like
maybe.
when she smacks my ass. Anyway, the other thing is, I guess when we first decided to take this break, we were getting hit with a lot of negativity. Somebody had copied our YouTube channel, mimicked us and stuff like that, and again, it was us getting our feelings hurt. But we also
it wasn't.
But
even
we also
really
had a
about,
lot going on at that time. We just moved. Everything was going, and she was working tons of hours, and just really, we just didn't have the time to do it.
And honestly, it wasn't even so much that my feelings were hurt. It was that it concerned me that someone spent that much time and that much energy doing something that was that cruel and that
hurtful.
That just nasty.
Right.
Because that wasn't something that took 2 minutes. That wasn't a comment. That was a methodical, intentional,
That was a whole reproduction of a YouTube channel.
Time-consuming attempt to embarrass, humiliate, or slander us.
Right.
And
which I
they-
did. I
and
probably
they were
did nothing
giving
to
out
these people, and she
personal
probably did either.
details about us
Right.
and where we live and my daughter. And so more so than my feelings being hurt, it was I need to make sure that I am doing what I have to do to make sure my family and my daughter and my
Right.
family are we're safe.
And the same thing with this
Yeah.
going on in the neighborhood. I feel I've done everything I can do to protect our family, and I will protect both of you with my life. I love you that much. I won't let anything happen to them. When this all started with the dogs and all that, and a kid down the street threatened me, I made a top priority. I will not allow anybody to threaten you or Cammy. And I think that's another part of the reason why we came together. So many people downplay this feminine and masculine role. We've become a society where women have to be men and men have to be women, and well, there is a masculinity and femininity part of this relationship that's old school. I love protecting you. I love when you feel safe around me, and I feel like you do. You feel very safe around me, and it's part of my makeup.
And I love being the the mom, the caretaker. It's not in a. And I know that there's people that are going to be,
she's a
that's
mother.
so unhealthy.
No,
but it's not. It's just.
She's a lover to me and my best friend.
I mean, you want to take care of people, and it's kind of a balance
But
because,
I did.
anytime a situation comes up, you have, and I'm just gonna say masculine and feminine just
Right.
for the sake of description, but by no means am I trying to offend anyone.
Right.
But you have a masculine reaction to a
Right.
situation, and that's okay.
Right.
But then, then I can bring in a feminine reaction to the situation that balances out the situation.
Right.
And so, I can, if I need to say, hey, Kevin,
Calm down.
calm down.
Which she does need to do more often,
sometimes
actually.
that's
Because
okay.
I
And
do.
if he
I'm
needs to
fierce.
say-
I'm fierce when it comes to my family and protecting them. I will stand my ground solid. But
And
sometimes.
then if he needs to say, Melanie, you need to be a little more firm
Right.
about that and make sure you're really.
And I have.
And then so it's a balance.
We do balance each other out quite well. Although Kevin will flip over the edge sometimes, but it's not anything out of hate or anger. It's more out of protecting you, protecting Cammy, making sure that my family's safe. Because I do. I told her I feel responsible. I found this place, and I don't want anything to happen. I want us to, we got a garden.
That's not how our story ends.
Well,
Kevin.
it's not how our story ends. And, she was, one day oh my God, we were sitting there going, we were in a safe, Publix parking lot.
Public.
And there was an exit right there, and I could have easily went out of it, but it was in, the entrance. And I started to go for it. And she goes, no, Kevin, that's not how my story ends. And I'm like, okay, I'll go all the way back around and go out the exit. But I mean, I could have. I had a clean shot at it, but it wasn't how our story ended, so I did it.
Yeah.
But it's those little things. It really is. It's about the little things, and you try, I try. And we're going to keep on trying. And I think that's the beauty of it. Even when there's those times where you just need a little bit more. And Kevin needs to speak out and say, hey, come here, baby. I need some loving.
And that's okay.
And she'll give it to me. But it's been a wild 30 weeks. Today is our 30th anniversary since our first conversation. And, people ask how this all got started. Well, I don't know, but 30 weeks ago, I was sitting there minding my own business. And she messaged me. And
Because I followed
your gut.
I felt led to message you because I felt like there was something I needed to say to you or needed to talk to you, and I didn't question why I had that feeling
But up
why
until
that,
then,
because
we
I
had
had
not
no
said
idea
a word
who
to
he, I
each
didn't
other.
know who he was. I mean, I knew I'd seen him on my Facebook, or we were Facebook friends, but we never even talked on Facebook.
I had
I'd
made
never
one.
messaged
I
him
had made
before.
one comment 3 months before that.
3 or 4 months before that, and I didn't even
When we
realize
first
he made
became
the comment
when we
until,
first
like,
became
after we met.
friends, I made a comment. Boy, you look good on the back of my motorcycle.
And I didn't even know that he'd made that comment until after we met.
Took her 3 months. Kevin's patience has really been tested, but it's to be honest with you, I don't mind waiting on you. Sometimes.
Well, if you would have asked him last night, you may have gotten a different answer, but that's okay because
Melanie does take her time. Melanie has got
I don't have an innate sense of urgency that a lot of people have.
no. Urgency is not one of her words in her vocabulary.
Because,
But,
I mean, people need to just slow down and relax and enjoy
well,
life.
I think she just speeds up a little bit, and I slow down. Well, I did slow down quite a bit. Kevin's a hyperactive person, and I do.
Who's the one that? Oh, I thought I was the one that had.
Yeah, but you get. I think we both got ADD, but you know.
Mine's just inattentive type, so I'm just like, oh look, it's a bird. Oh look, there's 47 squares on the wall. They've got 10 pictures over there.
Kevin gets his sights set on something that we were going to do, and Kevin wants to do it right away. Well, Melanie's got to get ready.
I mean,
that just takes a long time. But you look beautiful when you do. And then what am I going to do? Say, oh, well, you just took too long? No, I can't say that, but sometimes I do. And it gets me in trouble every time.
It gets you in trouble. Yeah, it gets coffee cups knocked off desks, right?
Mysterious coffee comes coming in my ankle.
I'm just kidding.
Anyway, what else we got?
That, I mean, it was just, I really just wanted to take that situation and just use it as an example of healthy ways that we can deal with things that happen when we get hurt, or when, and because I think you really can compare and learn a lot from that, like about how to respond versus how to
respond
be
instead of
reactive.
Right.
How placing blame and getting upset and getting angry and arguing would not have helped or fixed anything.
No.
Being willing and open to be calm and communicate, take action to do whatever you need to do
I'm
to
going
make
to be
sure
honest.
that it's fixed.
I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I really do believe God sometimes he goes, Kevin, whack. Will you listen to what she has to say? And quit making these scenarios in your head. It's, sometimes I guess, I'm not sure what it is. I just get lost in these thoughts sometimes.
Ruminating.
And but it's not good thoughts to be getting lost in. But it's strictly because of that feeling alone. And I look around, like I said, this house, and I know I'm not alone anymore. And sometimes that brings me to tears. Sometimes it makes me smile. And sometimes it just makes me want more. And, the song really does. It rings true. I can't get enough of you. I'll take every bit you can give me. And I realize that you're busy.
And if that makes me think of something else too, is that it's so important to be able to communicate and say things that might sting or hurt a little bit.
Right.
But know and trust that the other person is saying them out of love.
Right.
Because sometimes you need to be able to say things that maybe the other person doesn't want to hear.
Right.
That might feel like.
And you're really good at that.
How can you say that? Like.
Right.
And But now, if you're with the right person, now some people will say things just because they know.
Right.
But when you truly love someone, you have to be able to say things that might not be exactly what they want to hear sometimes.
Right.
But you just say, but you say it with love, you say it compassionately, and then you stay present there with them to talk about it and to be there.
Right. But it is, I mean, we do. I got to get it through my head. You love me. God's darn it. And I think it's obvious. I love you with all my heart. I don't ever want to do anything to see this ever fall apart. And I think that's why, even the misunderstandings we've had, we always come out with a hug and a kiss and say, "This, we don't need to do this."
I'll sit right down and look right at you and say, "Let's talk about it."
Let's talk about it. Which Kevin wasn't quite used to. So, it really is, guys. If you meet someone and you give them a chance, give it a real chance. Don't just look for those moments, like Kevin sometimes does, for things to be wrong. Because most of the time, there's not anything wrong if you really talk it out.
Well, and that's another thing we were talking about earlier is, and it could be any kind of situation.
Right.
Instead of assuming and going to worst case scenario, assume the best case scenario. Give the benefit of the doubt.
In my defense,
the issue.
we've had a lot of negativity in this neighborhood.
And I'm not just talking about us. I'm talking about just in general. Like, if you are in a relationship and you say you love someone, it should be that you go to the best case scenario,
right,
and address it and let it play out. And let the other person have conversation that's both people telling how they feel and validating each other and each other's feelings.
Right.
Instead of just going to worst case scenario and then accusation, coming at somebody and then defensively reacting to, well, I can't believe you said this to me. You can give each other that grace.
Right.
That grace of,
she deserves the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sure that you didn't mean to this way, but this is how it made me feel.
Right. And I think we're pretty good at that. We are pretty good at that.
That's not an easy thing to do. That's something that I know I have done wrong in the past.
Right.
I've jumped straight to, I can't believe you, but this is how I felt when you did that. And I don't think, I don't believe you really meant to hurt me, but...
No.
And so it just coming into something with that attitude shifts the whole dynamic.
And it really
makes the other person feel safe. It makes them feel heard. It makes them feel willing to to have that back and forth. And that's how you get to the root of it. That's how you fix things. You don't fix things by...
Well, we're willing to fix things. See, this is the why this is so different. This is why I know that we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. Because anytime and they're going to come up. It's inevitable in any relationship. You're not going to get along 100% all the time. When they told me that at the beginning, I was like, okay, right, you watch. But it does. There's going to be points where I'm down or you're down, and some things aren't going to go right, and it's not that we blame each other.
But we're still always on the same team.
It's not really that we blame each other. It's just that there's this misunderstanding. But we've always come to this understanding that we're willing to talk about it. We're willing to work at it.
You have to go into it knowing that we're on the same team.
Right. And we are. It's just
I think a lot of people, when they want to talk about it, it really means let's have a you versus me verbal battle to see who's right and who's wrong, and that really doesn't accomplish anything except
I do like wrestling with you, though.
Well, I mean, that's different. That all that does is build more resentment and create this foundation and every other time something comes up, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to go right back to that before. But when you come into the conversation, okay, we're on the same team. Right now, we're not. We're really not doing that. We're not winning this game right this second. We need to strategize. How are we going to do this together?
This isn't how our story goes, Melanie.
You know, like, I think because then you are working together, you're acknowledging each other, you're coming up with what you need to do differently, and you're not. It doesn't build up that resentment.
I think we're
all
doing
those
great,
feelings.
Melanie.
Kevin, I do too.
Because there was a whole lot of people saying that 6 months and we'd be done with each other.
This is not just about us. This is because we talk about relationships and things people need to hear, and these are things that I've learned and you've learned. And when I see them in action in our relationship, they stand out to me like, this is something I wish someone had told me.
Right.
You know, and because they may not seem like easy changes to make, and they're not really, but they are changes that you can make.
Right.
You have to be aware.
If you're with the right one, you'll want to make them. You'll want to see things a different way.
And if you're not with the right one, you'll end up wanting to be away, and then you'll want to be with someone who you can do those things with.
No matter what we've gone through, there's one thing that stayed with me always, that I did not want to lose this. And I think you felt the same.
Why is my forehead itchy? I'm not trying to interrupt you, but okay, sorry.
But I think it is. We both found something we don't want to lose, and we're willing to work at it. I don't really like to say fight for it, because I don't want to fight for it. I want to work at it. And it does take work. Relationships do take work. You've made extra efforts to do what you do, and I try to make extra efforts in what I do. And it is really, truly about giving so much to each other.
And being mindful.
Right, and being mindful of each other's
Being
feelings.
mindful of how the words that you choose, the tone of voice that you use, just being present. Not being physically in the same space, but being present and there for the other person. Letting them be heard, letting them be... You know, it's just you have to be mindful.
I'm not used to somebody listening to me. So I gotta watch
I know,
what I
sometimes
say.
you're like, it's hard for you to believe. I'm like, yeah, but I really am.
But anyway, we wanted to come on this magical 30th week since that first conversation. And thank God you called.
Since that first ding.
Thank God you called.
That's my Facebook Messenger sound. I'm terrible at sound effects.
But it truly has been what I consider God answering prayers for both of us. I've never been so comfortable with somebody in my whole life. I just adore you. I know you know that.
Likewise.
I know. And sometimes that's just hard for it to sink through Kevin's head. I wish this would have happened in my head, because it wouldn't even probably cut it. I
don't know. I'm just lizard. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I ended up with 6 stitches today, and
you probably could have had 2 in your head.
And an attitude adjustment that I needed. And I really do believe that happened for a reason, because it did. It calmed the whole situation down. And
now, I should point out, I wasn't like flailing my arms around angry, okay?
No, it wasn't.
Because you said it calmed the whole situation down. Like, I was just like, who's got it? Like, I was like, I just had to clarify.
To be honest, she was just getting in my face and saying, Kevin, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Getting in his face. Let me clarify that, too, because I was just like, Kevin, listen, look at me. Okay, that's what he would call getting in his face.
The coffee mug. Actually, she knocked the tea over first, and then trying to save the tea, the coffee mug got knocked over.
So now we have... I told him we're going to start using sippy cups. Plastic cups with lids.
Metal cups with lids. And a screw on. Because the ones that pop off, they come off. Kevin and Melody have spilled quite a few things, but we spill out a lot of love towards each other.
We do.
And I don't plan on quitting. And, we're glad that y'all showed up for our video. It's been 50 days. I know we've been away. And we'll try to come on more often. But I hope you guys understand that setting up these videos and doing them takes time. It takes effort. And when you're busy like this one here is, It is. It's an effort that she could be putting their effort towards other things right now. And you did.
Well, and
You made
it's
this
not
house.
that.
Well, you made this house a beautiful home. You took a lot of time doing it, and for the first time in my life, I do feel like I'm at home. And you made me feel that way 1,000 times over, and I know I made you feel that way too. And I can't imagine spending my life with anybody but you. I do love you with all my heart. I can't believe it happened this fast. But then again, I do believe it happened this fast. Because I lived it. And it's out there, people. But be with the one who's willing to talk to you, that shows they care about you, makes the efforts. Because that's the thing.
And take time to heal.
Yeah, take time to heal. Because
And take responsibility. And be willing to be wrong.
everybody
sometimes.
makes mistakes.
Be
Everybody
willing
makes
to be
mistakes.
wrong. Be willing to just say, you know what, you're right, and do something different.
Right.
You know, be willing to forgive.
Right.
But be more than anything, I think, be willing to allow yourself to heal and get to a point where you don't go into looking for
Allow yourself to be loved.
You know, you're not looking for a relationship, or
Right.
you know, you don't go into it like, well, let me see how all the ways that this is gonna go wrong.
Right.
You know, like,
If you're looking for the reasons, ways it's going to go wrong, it'll go wrong.
it's like if I say pink elephant, what do you think of? You thought of a pink elephant, didn't you?
It's true.
So
Your thoughts do
if I
have a
say
lot
red
of power.
cars, you're gonna find red cars everywhere. I
Yep.
mean,
You're right. You're absolutely right. Your thought pattern has a lot to do with your success at anything. And, you know, I try to keep a very positive attitude about this. You know, I write a lot about you, about relationships, about what I've been through. That is my way of not doing what I do sometimes. Coming to a boil, or coming to a point where
a Minto and a Pepsi.
where Melody's got to take, breathe, Kevin. But she does understand me more than I think I give her credit for.
Something else I just thought about. We were having our conversation earlier about you being an overthinker.
Oh my Lord!
And you're like, I think sometimes you're an overthinker too. And I'm like, you know, actually, I think I think I'm more of an underthinker.
She tries to underthink. That's what it is.
No, well,
she tries
no.
not to overthink.
How many times have you said, "Well, you just act like you don't even care," or "You're not even paying attention"?
Yeah, but that.
And I do care, and I do pay attention. But I say I call myself even an underthinker. But what I mean
well, you're cautious about what you put your energy to.
But what I mean by that is, I'm not going to sit and focus and replay over and over and over in my mind something that bothers me.
There are some things you got to face, though.
Well, and it's not. And this is what I'm trying to get him to understand, and something I think that is really hard to understand, and it's something that a lot of people would benefit from.
Right.
Just because you don't sit around and hold on to something and focus on something and talk about something a lot and make a big hoopla about something doesn't mean you haven't addressed it. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, so to speak.
She proves that.
Like, just because I don't go on and on and on and on about something doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge it. Doesn't mean
you say that, and I guess that's what part of it is with me. I've had to explain myself to so many people over and over and over again, so many times, and they don't get it.
You owe no one an explanation.
I guess sometimes I just try to over-explain myself to you.
If you are in a relationship and you are in love and you say you love someone, then there is an explanation that could be owed. But really, I think it's important to not always expect an explanation and not to always be held to the standard of having to give an explanation.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times really what explanations are I mean, sometimes they're okay, but really, they get mistaken as excuses by the other person.
Right.
They get, mistaken as, oh, well, you're just trying to dodge, responsibilities. So sometimes it's acknowledgement.
Right.
Just acknowledgement of a situation, acknowledgement of something that's been done, and and then move on, keep moving on, but do better, make better decisions next time, say better things, be better, love more.
We are still filling each other out. It has been
These are things for everybody to learn. I'm not
Right.
talking about you, Kevin.
No, well, you can talk about me. I don't mind you talking about our relationship and the things that we've overcome, because I think it's an example. We're showing that when you do care about someone, you do love someone, you're willing to work out your differences in a peaceful way, which sometimes Kevin doesn't understand that difference between trying to understand him, trying to get somebody to understand me, and this tone of voice that I have. And I tried to explain that to you today. It's not an angry voice that I got. It's a, gosh, why can't I just get this, make you understand what I'm trying to say? And you make the effort to, but Kevin's got to calm down for you to do that. And same thing with you. I can't understand anything if we're in this
and that's
that energy.
And again, that's what something I was gonna say was, sometimes if the other person wants to walk away for a minute,
well,
let them, and don't take it as if they're
for a minute, not for a whole night, not for 3 days, not for 4 days.
No, I'm not saying that. That's not sometimes the wrong approach. But if you're in a healthy, loving relationship, sometimes if the other person just wants to say time out, and walk away for a minute, that's okay. And it doesn't feel okay maybe if you're the one that's upset.
Right.
But I promise you, it will keep certain things from being said that aren't meant, that aren't.
I know.
That
I know.
Wouldn't be
I get
said.
it.
It allows the energy the momentum to kind of die down. It allows you to think clearly.
I get it.
It allows you to stay grounded and to respond and to talk versus.
But I'd rather talk it out. I don't like being.
It doesn't mean that you don't come back to it. It just means time out. Like.
I do. I like to face
my
problems sometimes, and I like to face them head on and get it over with and get them over with. And I just don't like to linger with stuff. I don't like to wait around, but
I'm learning. How's that working out for you, Kevin? I'm just playing.
Not always too good, but with you, a lot better than I ever thought they ever have before. Because you bring a calmness about me. You've calmed me down when I've gotten upset. Several different situations, but it's never been anything out of love, nothing but love for you. I just don't want to ever lose you, and I know you know that, and it's just sometimes I feel like I am sometimes, but I know I'm not.
You're not.
It's a little game. Kevin doesn't think the same way he used to, and this is all new to me. Being loved by two, God gave me a double dose of this stuff, and I guess He knew that I was a sponge that needed all this love to soak it up, and it has been overwhelming, and it's sometimes hard to believe that somebody as amazing as you could love me. You could have had any man you wanted.
Same for you.
Well, I don't know about that, but
you should know that.
Well, I do know one thing. God blessed us when He put us together. There's no doubt in my mind that God made this happen. It was there, prayers answered. Again, the very beginning of this relationship was just an amazing how it all happened. And, we're glad that Keeping It Magical has now got 2,222 followers and 2,021 likes, which I'm not sure how that happened, but you know, for that to happen, since we just started this page in July, it's just our January
15th.
Um,
I remember the morning that I started it.
Yeah.
I was so excited. I didn't even get out of bed. I came running in the other room and I was like, "Hey, guess what I did? I started a page for us." And you're like, another page."
Another page.
And I was like, "Fine, never mind. We won't."
But I fell in love with the idea, and I've fallen madly in love with you. And I do love my life. You know, I guess sometimes I do get bored when you're not here. And I probably need to get I do got my garden and I do got stuff that I do, but Kevin is still recovering. It'll be a year since I took my last breath and they brought me back to life. And I do believe that God did save my life for this. He gave me a brand new heart because he knew that this 7-year-old girl was going to make it beat like crazy sometimes. And he gave me a beautiful wife that makes it just melt. So he had to give me this strong heart to get through all this. And I thank you for coming into my life.
Thank you for letting me.
And allowing me to love you. Because I do love loving you.
And I love loving you too.
Noticed. But anyway, thanks for following our page, guys. Remember, everything on Keeping It Magical is shareable.
And now, not to be taken out of context and spliced and edited over and... Okay, never mind.
Do what now?
I said not to be taken out of context and
No,
spliced and
not.
re-put
Yeah.
back together and...
Yeah, we don't allow...
Yeah.
But, I mean, if that's what you want to do...
I mean, if you've got that much
then
time on your hands...
Maybe you need therapy.
I'll be praying for you.
Everything on our wall is shareable. Please do. And, again, welcome back, Melanie. I miss you. And I know they did.
Gone,
I know they did too. Y'all don't watch the video for me. Watch it for her. Anyway, we did miss doing this.
And my hair.
She's got different color hair now.
Anymore.
So I went from a brunette to a redhead. What color are you gonna be next?
Well, I'm trying to go.
Trying to
natural.
get back to her
I'm trying
natural
to go natural.
blonde hair, but
which is
just as long as you don't do the
shimmery,
blonde
which
thing.
is shimmery now. So it might be blonde, a really super shimmery blonde.
Yeah.
We won't call it gray, but you know.
But anyway, again, thank you, and hope you have a great rest of this weekend. Although I know it's Monday tomorrow.
Yeah, no Monday blues.
But she's off work. We get a whole nother day.
Because I work Tuesday through Saturdays.
Oh.
You almost knocked the coffee!
It was your fault. But it is. We are still keeping it magical.
Always.
But, you know, life is life. We all deal with it. We all got to deal with Mr. Rogers' neighbor sometimes. But one thing's for sure. I think we're going to make it.
I know we are.
Want a pinky promise on it? Or,
My hands are... Look how much bigger your hands are than mine.
Want a pinky promise?
Okay.
All right. We pinky promise. We can't break that.
Man.
We love you guys. And till episode 31... Mwah!
Namaste.
We love you guys.